Good evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right, good evening and welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring entrepreneurs and women-owned businesses from across the country. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, CEO and founder of the Women's Small Business Initiative, LLC, and award-winning author. And welcome to another night of sharing. With us we have Felicia Shanken. Felicia Shanken is the CEO and founder of the Philadelphia Women's Network Connection, LLC, and PWNC Foundation, Inc., 501c3. They help professional business women and solo women entrepreneurs who lack exposure in the marketplace learn how to find untapped resources to grow their business and find connections with professionals that get proven results. So without further ado, please help me welcome to my platform, Ms. Felicia Shanken. Hello, Felicia.
Hello. Hi. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, it is my pleasure, and I'm excited to have you on board and talk about everything that you've accomplished and how you got there. But before we get started and go down that road, tell the listeners just a little bit more about who Felicia Shanken really is.
Well, Felicia Shanken, who am I really? I come from the medical background. I am originally from New York. I grew up in Queens. I reside now in Philadelphia with my husband. So I was in the medical field for a little over 25 years. I started in radiology and I went back to school for nursing. So after I got into nursing, I decided that I wanted to pursue entrepreneurship full time. So I fired my corporate job 4 years ago and I've been building this business ever since.
Wow, I love it. I love the way you said that. I fired my corporate job. I love that. And you said it with such intensity. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. You know, that's a great way to think of it because, you know, we don't always look at when we decide to leave one entity into the other, especially when you've been working in the corporate arena as long as you have been. And then all of a sudden you're like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. So I'm firing myself and everybody else and starting something fresh.
Exactly.
So that is great. So, wow. So, Felicia, let me kind of just go backwards a little bit. You've been talking about the fact that you had been into nursing, you've been into the medical side for more than 20 years. That's a long time. So what inspired you to jump out of that to actually get into starting your own business?
Well, it's funny you say that because I always, I always had a business on the side ever since I've known, about the corporate world. I knew that deep down in my heart that me working for someone else was not what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to build my own dream. I wanted to be in charge of my own time. And, that's pretty much what motivated me. It was fear that kept me from branching out completely into full-time entrepreneurship. But, the type of person that I am, I was like, well, listen, you have to do it at some point. And, I look at fear as to get everything in rise. Mm-hmm. And I'm a very spiritual person. So I was like, well, God, I'm going to walk out on faith and I'm depending on you to help me with the rest.
That's right. Yeah, I like what you're saying, but I love that you've, brought up the fact about fear. Because even though we know it's in us, sometimes, people make it sound so simple and so easy to walk away from something that is considered in your mindset somewhat permanent, right? You've been doing this for 20 years. You know that paycheck is constantly coming in. But at the end of the day, you're spending your whole life and time to ensure that comes. And so it's like you have to have that thought and process in your mind of, okay, I've been doing it for this person for all these years. Why can't I do it for myself? But just talk a little bit about how that fear had truly held on to you. And then what was the pinnacle? What was that final thing beyond just really pushing you to say, I'm just not going to do this anymore?
Well, being in the medical field, I worked for the Department of Veteran Affairs, which was a federal job. I worked on the weekends and I was making a full person salary. My husband works full time also. He also is in the medical field. He makes a pretty good salary. So the fear was going from 2 salaries down to 1. Is this going to work? Venturing into starting a women's organization, something that I never did before. And I've had many businesses, everything from multi-level marketing to travel and so on. Okay. So this was really new for me. I got the vision in a Panera Bread one day to just do something different in the city of Philadelphia as far as the direction that I wanted to take a women's group. I wanted to do something where women can come and we do fashion shows and beauty and hair shows. But not only that, also have an hour of a speaker that could give us content where we could bring and put that into our business to help us grow our business. So, I working every weekend for 9.5 years. Of course, there were a lot of things that I missed, spending time with, my family and just, being kind of like chained to that. So one day I just went in there on a Sunday and I didn't tell anyone. I didn't even tell my husband because I believe that, you should not talk about things that you feel are best for you, because that gives the opportunity of people to get into your head and talk you out of things that you know are for your best interest. So I didn't even tell my husband. I just walked in one day, sit down at the computer. I typed up my resignation letter and I sent it, and I was like, oh, well, I can't take it back now. Wow. So being from New York, New York, it's like make or break, like they said the song, if you can't make it there, you can make it anywhere. So I was like, well, I'm a hustler. I've been a hustler all my life. So I want to pursue this. And my husband, I told him that I was leaving my job the day before my last day. So he was like, you know what? I knew you weren't happy. And with you leaving, I know that you have a plan. And I'm like, well, kind of. Right. So, I wish I would have stayed and matched my salary with what the income coming in through the business, but I didn't do that. I just got to that point where I was like, you know what, all right with the fear, let's do it. And I honestly have to say that anything that I have been successful with in my business or life, I have done out of fear.
Wow. That is a heck of a statement that you just made, because I've never heard anybody say that. But that fear is pushed you to certain pinnacles. So now you're here. And that's interesting because, a lot of people will tell us, oh, it's okay to be fearful, because I think that, if you're human, you're going to have that fear. And like, say, when you're used to having something that's there consistently for you and you've made it there, no matter how much you disliked it or not, we still try to hold on to that. But then to say that everything that you've done has been that way, that really is an eye opener, because I'm sure there are many other people. I'm sitting here thinking that I'm sure there's many listeners realizing that that's me, and so how do you move forward if you feel that way constantly? Because like you said, when you start to talk about these things with other people, there's always somebody going to try to reverse your thought process or tell you, well, no, you should do it this way or that way. And I think the biggest problem that most people forget is that it's your journey. No matter what, right, or how you decide to take it, it is always going to be your journey. So now, you've pushed yourself into this, and you've been doing, like, so you've always had these side business, but talk to me more and the listeners about your network, because it sounds phenomenal. I heard you mention a few things, but kind of dive into it about, what is the true purpose behind it, and what other things do you provide these professional women, whether they're solo entrepreneurs or not?
Okay, well, first I want to start with my for-profit, which is the Philadelphia Women's Network Connection. And as you mentioned earlier when you were introducing me, we work with women, professional business women, whether they're part-time or full-time. We work with them in their business. And when we say lack exposure in the marketplace, that could consist of anything. That could be of maybe how to get more engagement through their social media, or how to market their business the right way, or how to build a business, or the foundation of a business, how to write a business plan, how to write a financial budget. So we kind of meet them where they are. We also have women that haven't even started a business yet. Maybe they might be in the beginning stages and know nothing. So we have a collaboration with another organization where those women are mentored. And they are mentored, these are professionals that come together, give up their time, and they mentor these women that are starting businesses to help them get to, or start building a business and help them get to where it is that they want to be. So I always tell everybody my for-profit is like the appetizer. Now, the nonprofit, which is PWNC Foundation, that is our meat and potatoes. That's when we get a little serious now. And there we have a program that we're putting into place where we bring women together, like maybe about 15 women in this program, and we actually work with them. These are the ones that may have a full-time or a part-time job and they want to go into full-time entrepreneurship. So we take them by the hand. We have them have accountability partners. They have mentors. They have trainers. They are taught everything from A to Z of how to run a business and how to do it successfully. So they're in this program for the first year. We do a lot of hand-holding. Again, accountability. They have to be accountable because while they're in this program, they're also given a stipend. So to help them, along in the program. So if, we do a quarterly checkup and see how they're doing. So if we see that they're progressing and they're coming along in the business, then of course they can stay with the program. If we see that they're not serious and, they're taking that opportunity away from someone who could benefit from it, then they are taken out of the program.
Right.
So we're very serious about that. And, the bottom line is it's all about giving back to the community. I would tell people someone reached back and pulled me forward and, and this is what I do. I reach back and pull these women forward. So we do it by different ways. We might have live events. Before COVID, we were doing live events every month, every other month. We had to pivot to online. The blessing of us pivoting to online during COVID is it allowed our organization to go national and even global. So now we have that global recognition where we didn't have it before. So that opened up more doors and opportunities to bring opportunities to our women to give them more resources, whether it's helping them find grants or find connections or even talk about maybe going global if they're ready to try to hook them into that spectrum as well. So, so these are the type of things that we offer through both organizations. And our organization is very diverse. We have a little over 1,200 organizational members that we work with, and, that continues to build. So the good thing is we were fortunate to hook up with Temple University Small Business Development Center. So I do trainings for them once a month. And our women are also able, anyone can, but our women are also able to tap into those resources as well, which is free to them.
Wow. That is excellent. You have definitely, in 4 years, you have turned this around completely. I'm sure that 4 years ago, you had this thought process of this is what I want to do or how I want to do, but not seeing it to this pinnacle, because that's pretty doggone good what you have accomplished. And I'm sitting here, I love how you talk about your connections. I like how you've taken one entity and moved into it. When I'm hearing you talk about your for-profit, now the for-profit foundation, the Philly Women's Network Connection, is that a membership type based organization on the profit
side? We do
side?
have a membership. Yeah, we do have a membership, an individual membership, but I am going to be changing that around. I think I'm going to take that from being individual to a corporate membership. So with the benefits of the corporate membership is, they pay their fee for the year or monthly or whatever, and it allow the people in their organization to be able to tap into our resources and also get the same benefits as if they were paid members. So that's what I think I'm going to transition to.
Yeah, and I like that thought process. I've seen and, have in my own within business, have always tried to work around the membership side of it. And what I've learned is when you're dealing sometimes with individuals on memberships is that they're they may pay, but they really don't take the time to always jump and dive into what's there for them. And then it just becomes, here's just another membership. It's like if you're in a gym, it's like, I'm paying every month, but I never go. You never truly get anything out of it. Where I find if you're dealing on the corporate side, people are made to be more responsible because it's at a higher level and higher entity. Yeah, and I like that. But you're providing it for the professional too to say, hey, here's your opportunity. Even if you decide not to be in the business of your own, you still will be able to find ways to grow yourself professionally for where you're at today and continue to move forward. So your concept is spot on. Love it.
Yes, absolutely. And then too, I also offer one-on-one coaching. Mm-hmm. So I tell my paid members, I'm like, you have me, take advantage of that. I'm like, what you pay for your membership, people are paying almost triple to have me one-on-one, whereas you have access to me and you're not taking advantage of that.
Right.
So, that's another reason. But, you have to, it's like with anything, you start something and you look and see what works and what doesn't work. No one ever got rich off of a membership, and they never will. One of the other avenues that we're going to be going into, I'm happy to say that we just got ED WASB certified. So for those of you who don't know what that is, that's economically disadvantaged women-owned small business by the SBA, federal government, and we're also in SAM. So we will be able to take part in bidding on some of these government contracts.
Excellent. Yeah. See, and it's great that, everything that you've had in the corporate side, and like I said, you worked on the federal side, all of that knowledge, you have blessed yourself and brought it into your own. So you are definitely standing out in ways that, I love to hear, because there are many, many organizations that have, women members, network type programs, but to hear it in this level, I really appreciate it more because like we were just saying, that there's so many people who don't take those opportunities, and here you're providing opportunities in levels and ways that I haven't heard in a long, long time. And then, of course, like you said, that during the pandemic, you were able to pivot in a way that there's no way you could possibly do in person. So,
exactly.
That is, yeah. And we're so used to, having the opportunity of wanting to stand in front of people, but being able to have that opportunity to reach further, just like we're doing, even just being on a podcast show, people don't truly understand how beneficial just even being on a podcast and having one of those can truly reach people that you would never, ever be able to have the opportunity to share your journey, talk about the things that you can accomplish and continue to grow with as an individual, whether you want to be an organization or not start a business, but just really getting the proper resources. And then that's exactly why, having this show that I have is so important, is that my organization is all about sharing resources, because a lot of times we don't really sit back and think about how you can get your resources. Obviously you can get on Google all day long, but reading it and experience it is two different things, and having that knowledge to, to connect with people in a way that, you can't always afford to do it. So, what you're offering, and you did say to me before we got on to the show, talk a little bit about your podcast that's soon going to be coming, and, that you currently are doing now, are going to be extending out.
Oh, it's so funny you said that. They always say, be careful what you ask for. I do a digital show that airs on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So I do that through StreamYard, and the show is called Unapologetically Me. I do it on Tuesdays at 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. So my show has blessed so many people. They have gotten collaborations. One person got a sponsorship, and there's just been some blessings coming out of it. Well, someone said to me, Felicia, you should think about getting a podcast. And I'm like, you know what? I'm so busy. I'm not even thinking about that. And, so actually they threw it out into the universe. So the next thing I know, a little over a month ago, someone contacts me and they're like, my assistant saw you and heard you. So we saw one of your shows. We love what you're doing. And would you be interested in coming on and being, part of our family and doing a podcast or a radio show or something. And I'm like, you're kidding me. So I let it resonate for about a month. I was like, really, I really want to get involved with this? And again, it goes back to my grounding and being spiritual. I was like, well, God, I was like, let me pray on this. And I'm always saying, God has a sense of humor. So I was like, well, God, if this is of you, please let me know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I lied to you not. I got my confirmation probably within 8 minutes. Wow. And then after that, I got confirmed again and again. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Mm-hmm. So, yes, I'll be starting my new podcast starting next month. I don't have the date yet. They're just getting everything together. Mm-hmm. But it will also be called Unapologetically Me. It'll be a spinoff of my show. And the beauty of it, and it's definitely a blessing, is that we will be airing in 160 countries. Wow. So I was like, wow. Yeah, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And go back to that word fear. Mm-hmm. It scared me because I was like, am I ready for this? My company is still young. It is under 4 years, actually. It's a little over 3 years. Wow. So my company is still young, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. And, so someone had to remind me. They were like, well, if God is ready, you're ready. That's right. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, everything I've done has been out of fear. So, let me just venture into this. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I'm excited about it. I'll be doing it once a month. I want to start off small and see what happens and just go from there. So I'll be keeping my digital show. I'll probably do that, scale that back to twice a month, and then just have the podcast and have 1 week where I'm off and I can just relax and gather content and stuff.
Right. Well, you know what? You're already doing it, and even though it's digitally aired, you really, it's a podcast, but now, like you said, the reach is going to be so much further, and you're just going to be helping so many other women. I know it's obviously predominantly who your reach is and who you serve, but just think about all the others that you will be able to serve, young ladies as well, and young girls who are dreaming about these opportunities and can be able to reach out. And who knows, your business, and I'm going to put this out in the air for you, okay, and as for that, you will be able to be global, but what you're doing, because like I said, I just love hearing about these type of organizations that are truly doing what they say they're going to do. And listening to your story is just phenomenal for me because, like I said, there's got to be somebody who's listening right now saying, hey, I'm that woman. I'm that person who fears everything that I do, but look at where I'm at. Look at who I am. Yeah. And so
exactly.
It's just important
it's so funny. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish. Go ahead.
Yeah. I tell women, it hardens. It doesn't, I just feel bad when women say to me, I don't let my light shine because this one said something or this one said that one, or I'm afraid of the feedback. And I'm like, listen, you worked hard to get to where you are. This doesn't happen overnight. Like I tell people, I'm like, listen, what you see going on with me, this didn't automatically happen over 3 years. Now, rewind. I've been doing businesses almost all my life, ever since I was a teenager. I'm in my 50s. So this has been ongoing. It's just that this is my time, whereas everything is falling into place. And I tell people, I said, don't be afraid to let your light shine. And you were saying that there was something that I said about fear. Another thing a lot of people don't hear is I tell people appreciate and love your haters. I always acknowledge my haters because your haters keep you accountable. They keep you accountable for you to do what you say you're going to do. Your friends and family give you a pass. Oh, you don't want to do this today? Fine, do it tomorrow. Oh, you don't want to do it tomorrow? Do it the next day. No, your haters are looking at what you're doing every day because they want you to fail. If that's not motivation enough, then I don't know what is.
Amen. Exactly. Look, I hope y'all realize we're getting a little preach session going on right here, okay? Because you definitely hit it, the nail on the head, okay? It's like it's it's really a lot of the common sense of just understanding who you really are. But like I said, a lot of times we're so worried about what other people say or think or do that we lose who we are. and it's okay to work off of that fear, because I always get asked the same question. Well, oh, you're so good at what you're doing. I said, but every time I'm on this mic, you have no idea what's going through me right now. That bubble guts, that fear, right. Because you want to make sure that anything that you're doing, if you're professional and you're doing something that's business, that you want to do it right. You want to honor the people that you are working with, and you want to show them that anything is possible. So. Yes. And most important, to stay humble on your journey. I just gave a speech on Friday to a women's power luncheon. I think it was a little over 70 women there. Mm-hmm. And I told them, they were like, after, oh, your speech is greatness. And I said, the speech I wrote and the speech I gave was two different things. I was like, I started off with what I wrote, but then God said, talk from the heart. Exactly. And that's what I did. But, I had to let them know. I'm like, listen, on your journey, on this journey that we all are on, be kind. Be kind. I said, because that person that you discard today can be that very same person who can take your business to the next level that you never even imagined. So stay humble while you're going through this. Be kind and make sure you always reach back and pull forward. You have to give it back. You have to. Absolutely. Wow. I tell you what, you and I could talk all day because I'm just loving this conversation. Oh my goodness. It's like I found my sister over here. Oh, Felicia, I'm telling wonderful. You have been such a joy, but we're definitely getting close to the end of the interview, but I want to ask if you have anything you want to share with the listeners about, something new that you have coming up that you want to just bring some information out, and also how they can connect with you. Okay. Well, as you all heard, my podcast will be coming out next month. I don't have all the information yet. Everything is still in the works. It will be once a month. It'll be either the third Thursday or the fourth Thursday. It'll probably be in the evening. This way it works a little well with the Eastern Standard Time as well as international time for most people. The way you can connect with me is you can go through my website, which is PWNC.org. That's PhillyWNC.org. Or you can also send me an email at Felicia@PhillyWNC.org. And I just want to leave all of you, with one thing. Whatever your dream is, whatever your vision is, remember God gave it to you. You don't have to explain it to anyone. You don't even have to listen to what anyone says. The dream was given to you. Do not ever let anyone ever get into your head and tell you what you cannot do, because you can. Stay focused. Don't listen to the outside noise, the noise. And I promise you, if you just keep doing what it is that you love and continue to do with a true heart, one day it will happen for you. All right. That couldn't have been a better ending. That's amazing. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to be on my show with me tonight, because you have absolutely dropped some gems tonight. Those pink nuggets are definitely going to be well reserved. And I pray that people are truly listening, and not just listening to us, but listening to within themselves. And, it's funny because when I first thought about how this conversation was going to go, when you review everybody's bios, and I'm like, okay, well, we're going to learn about how to deal with the marketplace. No, I learned so much more about, it's not about the lack of exposure on what's going on the outside. It's about the lack of exposure, what we have going on within us. And you have tapped that resource. You've definitely tapped that resource tonight, and you are a blessing to everybody. And I pray that you continue to keep growing, and that you continue to keep reaching the women that you want to reach, and help those that are looking for help. And if you don't even know if you're looking for help, everybody, look, like she said, we all have our dreams. We all have our passions. But one thing I always try to make people understand, you cannot move forward on those dreams or passions if you just don't take that step. There's always somebody else that's there to reach out to help you and to get you where you need to be. If you want to have that conversation, you are more than welcome to reach out to me, and I can get you connected with the right people as well, so that we can make sure that you are getting what you need. And hey, I'm not in Philadelphia. I'm here in the DC, outside the DC area, but we can make sure if you're in Philly that we can I'll get you to Miss Felicia. I promise you that.
There you go.
That's the way this works. That is the way this works. But anyway, again, like I said, Miss Felicia, thank you for coming on tonight to the show. For everybody else, you can reach out to me.
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
yeah,
like
thank you for having me. It was such an honor. It was such an honor. I love to talk to women and just be an inspiration any way I can. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. And thank you again. And like I said, for those who want to talk about the dreams and let's turn those dreams into goals, you can reach out to me at Kimberly at WSBILC@gmail.com. And of course, if you want more of Your Resource for Success, we accept monetary donations to support the podcast. There will be information about the Cash App in the DM below, or you can go directly to www.wsbilc.com. But again, we would like to thank you all for listening to us tonight. We will be back next week with more amazing guests, and be sure to follow us on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcast. But until then, enjoy the rest of your evening and good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.